Amy, Mr. Speaker, nice to see you,
Good to
sir.
be with you.
And make no mistake about it, this will be a knockdown, drag-out political fight. But meanwhile, what goes on at the Supreme Court? Fox News correspondent Shannon Bream is here. Shannon, nice to see you.
Great to see you.
First of all, I've gotten a bunch of emails from viewers who want to know why the pillow was found on Justice Scalia's head, as reported, and wondering why there is no autopsy.
Yeah, that filled up my Twitter feed this week, and as soon as that quote was out from the man who owns the ranch, and he's the one who found Justice Scalia dead, we reached out to him and finally got with him by email today, and he said basically the family doesn't want him talking to the media, but he did clarify for us. He said it was that the pillow was found above his head and touching the headboard. There was another underneath him, like we all sleep on a pillow. He said there was nothing that would have been out of the ordinary, and maybe his words didn't come out the first time he gave that quote.
Was he feeling ill that night?
He was feeling tired. You know, he'd had a lot of travel. He'd just been in Singapore, and he traveled back and forth. Those are long flights. It's a grueling thing. He'd always kept up a tough schedule, though. But apparently he had told everyone he was tired, wanted to turn in early.
Right. With the fact that there's a vacancy in the Supreme Court, we have some important decisions between now and the end of the term, which is June 30th. How does this impact these decisions?
Well, some of them have already been heard, and so if there's...
But not decided.
But not decided. We don't have the opinions yet. You know, they vote the Friday after they hear the case, so we know these were already in process. Some big things on voting rights, affirmative action, union dues. So those, it'll see, you know, we guess what the court will do is if Scalia's judge, his vote was not of impact, they'll go ahead and give us the opinions. If it is a tie case because his vote is now missing, the chief could hold them over to be reheard with a new justice sworn in, or they could issue them as a tie decision. If that happens, the lower court ruling stands. And they've still got big cases to hear on abortion, immigration, and Obamacare.
You know, this is a tough decision for the Chief Justice, how to handle this. You know, it's pretty interesting because, you know, it could change whether a case was likely to have been reversed from down below or not.
Yeah, but you know how he is. He wants very much to keep this court moving. He doesn't ever want to be seen as political. When we have 3 feet of snow here in Washington, it is the only government entity that is open in all of Washington. I mean, he is very much about keeping them on track. So I think that they'll recognize it and grieve, but they will very much try to keep it business as usual.
And I should add that he was best friends, at least reported, with the most liberal justice on the court, Justice Ginsburg.
Yeah, they traveled together with their spouses. They did opera together. They would celebrate New Year's Eve together. They had a very deep affection for each other, and yesterday in her remarks, she called him my best buddy.
Well, it's sad, isn't it? I mean, whether you agreed with Justice Scalia or not, it's always tough.
Big loss.
You know, it's always tough, and you know, they just don't know at this point, you know, how things are going to unravel. Funeral plans?
Not yet. We're waiting to hear from the family and the court.
Shannon, thank you.